Hi, welcome to the Andrew Buckle comic review of Fantastic Four, issue 25. Now, this is one of the classic Hulk versus the Thing. It's weird they didn't call it the Thing versus the Hulk. Of course, the Hulk, probably at this time, and I'm not certain, was not in his own comic at that point. So clearly, the Hulk was making the rounds, appearing in various magazines. And this is bringing the Marvel age of comics to a lofty new pinnacle of greatness. There was, of course, the issue 26 when we had the Avengers came in. I haven't got that issue, which is a pity, but still, this is still a Marvel spectacular, as it says. And I thoroughly, I love always the 9 old pennies UK. The weird thing is, I noticed there's Reed on the. Why is Reed on the cover? Since Reed was actually, during the story, ill all the way through. He wasn't in the story at all at this point. So it just seems odd that they included. And the Hulk looks massive against the Thing. Not certain that the proportions are right exactly. Is he really that big compared with the Thing? However, that doesn't matter. Let's get into the actual story. Hulk versus the Battle of the Century! Along with all the other battles of the century, of course. But still, this one, I think it's right, April 1964. I always love all the various things. Can-Am Publishers, it says there. Can-Am Publishers Sales Corp. And copyright 1963. And you've got here, obviously, Reed is doing various things. And he's, of course, doing various things to try and get the Thing back to being just Ben Grimm. And you've got to... However, I love this bit with Sue Storm. And she mentions the Avengers issue 3, a lovely bit of cross. However, Fantastic Four issue 12, she sort of seems to suggest that she has never met the Hulk. Couldn't stop reading about the Stop the Hulk, etc., etc. Gives me shivers just to read about him. But hang on, you fought him in issue 12. Short-term memory on that one. Well, I'd completely forgotten about. The Avengers do actually turn up in this. You've got the Hulk, of course, Bruce Banner there, just changing there. And you've got him obviously then changing weirdly back again. He becomes very quickly the Hulk again and he springs off. And you've got the Avengers turn up. Of course, the very, very early Avengers. You've got Thor there, obviously Rick Jones, Captain America, Giant Man and Iron Man, etc. And the Wasp, of course. Love the Wasp going through there. Onto the story. And of course, then he heads off to New York and battles thing. And he suddenly, I've been replaced by someone named Captain America. How terrible. Well, you did leave, and what do you expect? I mean, you just charged off doing things. He's deserted me too. No, I think it's just you keep bouncing off around the desert all the time, as you do. And you got here, of course, we've got straight away, poor old Reed is obviously feeling a bit ill. Well, he's been working with unusual microbes. Apparently his doctor warned him about working on unusual microbes, viruses and things. I mean, Reed is a scientist that works on all kinds of weird stuff. You'd think he actually would have a laboratory that would be a bit more sort of like protective, with all sort of, yeah. Obviously, clearly he didn't worry about that sort of thing back then. And you got the Hulk, obviously. He's just a kid and you can see, again, he's faced the Human Torch before. It's very strange, this sort of storyline. Love this scene here. Look at that. You got here the police coming through. What an unusual scene. Just seems to be a bit of a, obviously, very crowded scene there. And also you've got the people obviously filming it and all that sort of thing. You've got, obviously, Sue Storm is still obviously worried about Reed there. And others are coming. And he tosses them. Obviously got the force field. I think Sue Storm is definitely, she probably could take on the Hulk on her own, especially now. I mean, Sue Storm is probably one of the most powerful of all of the superheroes or heroines. It's just great character. And you guys got the Thing versus the Hulk, and you got him obviously bang, smash, and all that sort of all crashing through all various things. It is a pretty epic story. Like I say, the size of the Hulk versus the Thing here does seem to be slightly disproportionate from the earlier bit. So, and I love the way they sort of throw various things, tyres, etc., as if that would make much difference. But I guess probably the Hulk throwing a tyre probably would be quite painful if it hit you. But also, especially when you got that, look at that building there. That probably building is not going to be particularly that great condition after that. And you got him obviously getting blasted there by the electric wires. And you've still got great scenes with the Reed Richards as well, because he's still clearly ill. And obviously the story continues, which leads on, of course, to the classic Avengers one later on. And I just love that. This is just a brilliant story. It is a real great story, even though you think, And of course, since They've done lots of other Hulk versus things. And of course, you've had Hulk versus, not versus the Thing, but the Hulk and the Thing. They're friends and all that sort of thing. Meet up and have a chat every once in a while now. But it's still great. And I love the way he sort of wraps them round and tries to battle him. However, I think this is always great. You've got a lovely advert for another triumph for Marvel. Here comes Daredevil. And I noticed recently, I was just looking on a website that's got all prices and things. It's like 3,600 for this copy of Daredevil now. And you think, wow, probably more now. But obviously a really brilliant condition one. And of course, it would have been brilliant condition at that point. Never would have imagined in a million years that a 12-cent comic was going to go for that sort of price. But however, Spider-Man tradition, Daredevil, the most daring, different superhero of all. Well, obviously slightly different from how the Daredevil was. Bill Everett, I love that. Those early issues, Wally Wood, all those sort of early Daredevils, absolutely brilliant. You got, again, the lovely adverts there. Magic tricks, dresses, 24 cents. Wow. Shoes, 39 cents. And as always, my copies are all falling apart. There's bits of chip in there. And you got different stamps, more stamps, zoological specimens. They obviously sent various things. Great picture there of the Hulk. I'm not going to show that. And how it all ends. Of course, it doesn't end because it goes on. This was, I think, one of the very, very early sort of major crossover stories, if not the first one, where you got the Thing and the Hulk and, of course, the Avengers coming. I'm surprised they didn't bring in the X-Men as well. And maybe all the other characters, Doctor Strange, all of them. They could have, Spider-Man, throw the lot in. Of course, they would have done now. But I love also the Fantastic Four fan page. They're always great. I love and always love the fact that they always put the dresses as well, which I don't think they would put nowadays. But still, I love the early Iron Man there as well. Sergeant Fury is great. And again, Sergeant Fury they could have put in. Well, obviously that would be a bit tricky. They'd have a time travel story, wouldn't they? But obviously Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. later was a lot later. Wanted to rave about Doctor Strange in the Strange Tales. It was a master. What? Why are they talking about Doctor Strange Tales and Strange Masterpiece? I've latched on to all the Doctor Strange Tales. Latest Tales of Suspense was a complete surprise. Very strange. Why talk about that? Obviously a bit of cross-advertising. Why not just put... And I was sick in bed with virus. I was in room with all my Marvel comics. Sort of thing that I always did as well, I must admit. And of course you've got lovely... Another one. How odd. That is so odd. I've just finished reading Strange Tales 114. Very, very peculiar. And then another man. This is very strange, this one. This is baffling. Journey into Mystery, Thor one. Just mentioning that. These are in the pages of the Fantastic Four. And then also, I love of course, the bulletin checklist or whatever was not particularly formed in a normal standard way by that point. But you got to hear about Daredevil. Bill Everett, who gave you the original Submariner in the golden age of comics. And he now joins Stan Lee to bring the newest and possibly the greatest creation of the Marvel age. Daredevil, February the 4th. On the sale, February the 4th. Obviously back in 63, etc. So that was quite a while back. Sergeant Fury issue 6, X-Men number 4. I love that. X-Men number 4, that was one of the classic ones. Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. And just Fantastic Four 26, obviously I mentioned here. Finally, we get a treat in the store with the big issue of FF. Also, I'd like to recommend, I love that. That's pretty good as well. Down the bottom, we recommend Giant Man. Well, it wasn't called Giant Man. Tales to astonish. But it wasn't called Giant Man, nor was it called Doctor Strange. So it's just strange that you would put in a checklist trying to sell comics, because that would have confused people. Kids going out, oh, I'm going to go and get a copy of Doctor Strange. Nope, not in the shops. Strange Tales, yes, but not Doctor Strange. And Iron Man, again, just mentioned not Tales of Suspense, but just mentioned just the names of the characters. Still, I love all the adverts again on the back, and this one, of course, as with most of my comics, falling to pieces. I love this one. It's absolutely one of my, actually quite probably earliest sort of old comic that I ever got. And this one, Fantastic Four, I think I paid next to nothing for it, about 10 pence or something. It was really cheap. And obviously, you know, it's been read multiple times by me and probably people earlier, but it's still obviously got lots and lots of nice lines through it and everything else. But just a joy to read. But it's still actually, when you look at it, still not bad condition. I mean, it's not, you know, still connected. There's and there's no rusty staples, which are my favourites. But I love this issue. I mean, this is a classic. You can read it, of course, in the Fantastic Four Epic Collections, and also, of course, the Omnibus Collections. And, of course, Marvel are bringing out these sort of smaller, slightly weird, small ones, which I haven't bought yet. I haven't bought any of those because, of course, I've got the stories already. But they've got the smaller versions with all the stories as well. I don't know if it's got up to this point in the Fantastic Four run, the Hulk versus the Thing. And, of course, it's probably met lots of essential books, of course, have got it as well. So this has been reprinted quite a few times. Of course, Marvel Unlimited as well is another great place. Whenever I quite often read those, I love looking at Marvel Unlimited. But of course, it's nothing better than reading the originals and seeing the original style they've done. It's not cleaned up in any way, and the inking is all over the place. But I love it. I absolutely love these. So Fantastic Four issue 25, really worth checking out. This great story, classic Fantastic Four story. And of course, issue 26 is another one that's worth checking out as well.